day for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports adult film star Stormy Daniels' lawsuit against U.S. President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, will be paused for 90 days. The federal judge in the case ordered on Friday, saying that Cohen's constitutional rights could be endangered if the lawsuit proceeds while he is under criminal investigation. District Judge James Otero wrote in the order, the court finds that there is a large potential factual overlap between the civil and criminal proceedings that would heavily implicate Mr. Cohen's Fifth Amendment rights, referring to the Constitution's protection against self-incrimination. Cohen has admitted to paying $130,000 to Stormy Daniels to secure her silence about having sex with Donald Trump, which he denies. Cohen said the payment was legal and Daniels has sued to end her non-disclosure agreement. Michael Avenatti, a lawyer for Stormy Daniels, promptly pledged to fight the stay, writing on Twitter he would file an immediate appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in California, which could ultimately lead to the Supreme Court weighing in. Otero wrote, whether or not an indictment is forthcoming, and the court thinks it is likely based on these facts alone, these unique circumstances counsel in favor of a stay. Daniels has argued that the lawsuit should proceed, with Cohen invoking the Fifth Amendment only for specific questions that might lead to self-incrimination. But Otero wrote that approach could lead Cohen to not answering any questions, rendering a deposition useless. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
According to a new report released this week by the Pew Research Center, a rising number of weak, emasculated men are working as stay-at-home dads, with a steadily increasing number of feeble, pathetic fayboys choosing to spend their days cooking, cleaning, and performing other submissive duties.
Well, our findings indicate that more and more pussified half-men are not going to work, and instead are embarrassing themselves by purchasing groceries, packing children's lunches, and denying all aspects of their masculinity on a daily basis.
The Onion spoke to one of these effete, pathetic excuses for men to get his response on the new report.
I love being able to stay home with Angela. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
What a f***ing pussy. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition. And if you're listening to this show, it's between 7 p and 10 p Eastern Time. Any day of the week. We're here. We're live. We're taking your calls. So you're welcome to give us a call, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Johnny Ray.
And Darryl.
So, of course, we bring things in to talk about, and the thing we brought in is...
Avengers Infinity War sucks.
You didn't like it?
No. I really didn't like it at all. I felt sorry for the actors.
I don't feel sorry for the actors. They made a lot more money in that movie than I've made in several years, if not
probably
ever.
Your whole life.
I felt sorry for each actor who had to make a face of anguish after suffering loss, and those actors are legion in this movie. That just keeps happening. It got so old. Captain America looks terrible in the movie, which
because he has
offended
a beard?
Me. No.
Okay.
No,
I thought they paid like
$25
$25 million to get rid of the beard. Or was that... No, that was a mustache and something.
Oh, God, that mustache is awful.
Didn't ZZ Top take some...
No, there was like
offered.
one of the Superman
Evans.
or something where they paid $25 million in CGI to cover up a mustache.
Chris Evans has been running around with the biggest, ugliest porn stash around. And I don't know why. I can't imagine why he's chosen to do it, but he has. It just looks awful.
Well, he was in another
movie
at the same time, and the other movie called for him to have a mustache.
That was Superman.
Chris Evans is not Superman.
I know, but the movie that the situation Daryl's talking about was the guy who played Superman.
All right.
Was doing some other thing, but they had to do some reshoots, but he wouldn't shave his mustache, so they took the material and they digitized his mustache away.
Fine.
And the viewers didn't like it because it didn't look good.
Okay, I didn't notice.
Captain America looks like a Final Fantasy character. He's got big hair, which should be short and cropped and military, clean, honest, USA.
He's been on the run for some time.
And he's got bare forearms and big gloves, and he just looks stupid to me.
Okay.
None of this makes any sense to me because I don't watch superhero movies.
I understand. I did see the Avengers movie. I saw it on Thursday
I don't
night.
know if I'm in the minority or the majority.
Well,
I don't know how many other people don't watch superhero
It's the
movies.
fourth biggest opening Thursday, preview opening ever. So I don't know whether you're in the minority or the majority either, but there are a lot of people who saw it on Thursday.
I've also never seen a Star Wars movie, and
I've never seen a Star Wars movie. Okay.
Never. And I've never intentionally watched Titanic.
Okay.
But you watched it accidentally.
Right. So
probably parts of it.
They're right. I've
TV.
seen enough parts of it, but not necessarily in order. That and before the movie ever came out, I knew that the stupid boat sank, so I didn't need to go watch the movie.
Before you say things like that, you're supposed to say spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, 107 years ago, a boat sank, and then they made a movie about it.
How long do you think you need to go with the spoiler alert thing? I mean, do I need to say that there are
Like just glancing up, looking at random TVs.
There you go. So
that's how I've accidentally seen Titanic.
Do you know why they've come up with the 365 days rule?
I've come up with it.
Oh, okay.
I just came up with it just now, but
What about a month? I mean, I kind of feel like if you've had a month to see this movie, it's pretty clear you're not invested in the spoilers.
yeah.
Especially when it comes to Infinity Wars. The hype has been huge on
Yeah.
this movie. If you wanted to see... Here, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to hear spoilers about Infinity War, you need to get to the theater as soon as possible and see it. I mean, it's not somebody else's responsibility to withhold information in their conversation.
Uh-huh.
In my opinion, I think that, you can spoiler alert all you want, but people don't generally. Does anybody turn off a TV when they hear the word spoiler alert? I don't.
I know a guy who, when he goes to the movies, he puts his head between his knees when the trailers come on because he doesn't want spoilers.
Okay.
Some people are really, really serious about it, and I want to tear this movie down on the air, complete with spoilers, but I realize that it's only been out a few days, and some people are really jazzed about it, and it would be bad for me to give away the stupid things that happen in the movie.
I gave it 4.5 stars. Thought it was a great movie. I don't think it's. I mean, I think that it's different than other Marvel movies up to this point, but it was pretty obvious when there was.
While trying to figure out what's the timeline on spoilers, came across an article from the Irish Times titled "Spoiler Alert: People Don't Hate Spoilers, or Do They?" And they go through talking specifically about this Infinity War thing, and apparently the title of the movie was a closely guarded secret because it was somehow considered to be a spoiler about what the movie was going to be about. Which just seems ridiculous.
Well,
it's
no,
like calling a movie Rocky 4. There's going to be another Rocky movie. Spoilers!
Well,
Rocky gets back in the ring.
For those that know, Infinity War does sort of tell what's going to happen in the movie to some extent, so okay.
Batman tells you that Batman's going to be in the movie. That's not a spoiler.
Well, the Avengers are in the Avengers movie. There's no doubt about that. But Infinity War suggests what's going to occur in that movie. Not that anyone at this point who has any interest in going doesn't know what's going to happen, to some extent. They've got some notion of what's going to happen, I suppose.
It's definitely geared to the fans, especially in the sense that there's like 30 superheroes in there, and they
Right.
simply don't have time to explain anybody.
There's almost no character development in the movie on sort of the hero side. Like, how could they possibly? They've spent the last 10 years and, I don't know, a dozen movies, maybe 24 movies, doing their character development for you. This is a culmination event, not a not the same old thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got tired of seeing Doctor Strange do his battle stance and his little glyphs in front of his hands. That got tedious. The entire film was a bit like Candy Crush Saga appeal. It was very brightly colored, and of course the Infinity Stones themselves are very colorful. I think the story arc should have been guarded optimism up until the end, and then when everything seems like it's about to go right, there should be a shattering, abortion of all those hopes and dreams. And instead, the film is just from the beginning, it's just a downhill slope in terms of hope and optimism. And then at the end, I mean, at the first scene establishes that the bad guy is not going to be defeated. And he's not. Big surprise.
Well, I don't know what the first scene established. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you one way or the other. I found the movie to be worth seeing, and I would go see it again. So, I mean, this is the thing about these, these movies and the characters and these sorts of things. People have their opinions on them, and some people are going to like what you do, and some people aren't going to like what you do. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to with doing these movies. Obviously. Let me ask you this. Would you go see the movie the second time?
If somebody bought my ticket.
Well,
do people generally go see movies twice?
I didn't do it until Marvel came out, and then I've probably seen every Marvel movie twice in the theater at this point.
That just seems strange to me.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. The number is 855-450-3733. It's Mark with you.
It helps if you unmute him.
Yeah, I didn't.
Johnny Ray.
And Darryl.
Last night, there were only 2 people on the show, so I got used to pushing 2 buttons, and tonight 3. This is what happens when you put the normal second seat host, the color guy, behind the main mic.
Now, let me interrupt you right there, Mark, just for a second, because before we stop talking about Avengers, I want to say, and by the way, folks, if you want to talk about the Avengers, Mark said, please call in. He wants to get your opinions on what's coming next.
No, I hate
how we came to where we are, how you feel, and etc.
Yeah,
one thing,
that's what I want to hear, what people feel.
One thing that I truly enjoyed about Avengers Infinity War was the Guardians of the Galaxy people, and I hadn't seen those films, and now I want to. Drax was enchanting.
Yeah, the only thing I know about the Guardian of the Galaxy thing is that Dave Bautista,
he plays Drax,
was in that movie, and apparently he's a blue guy.
Well, bluish, blue with some red tattoos. I gotta say this. So when I first saw the Guardians of the Galaxy, I had every expectation that Dave Bautista would be playing the 5th guy on the totem pole, and in my opinion, he's somewhere between 2nd and 3rd. I mean, of course, there's the main guy who's Star-Lord
Chris
or
Pratt.
whatever. What's that?
Chris Pratt.
Right. His superpower is clever oafishness. Whereas Dave Bautista...
Oh, and there's a raccoon.
Yep. But Dave Bautista's acting as this particular character is just so spot on. And I just thought he was fantastic. And haven't disliked him in anything up to this point. He gets to deliver a lot of good jokes.
When I go to the theater, the cinema, I want to go see those movies and be elevated by them, where they just fill you with wonder and take you to another place. Dave Bautista did that for me in that film, but nobody else did, I don't think.
Not even the raccoon?
No, that's Bradley Cooper voicing the raccoon, and I thought that he would be cool, but he's just okay.
And what about the talking tree?
He's also...
Or is that a spoiler to say there's a talking tree?
No.
And that's Vin Diesel, and he's just... all he ever says is,
I thought his name was Groot.
Yeah. So I hope... I like Vin Diesel as much as anyone. I hope he's not getting paid a bunch.
So you don't think very much about Vin Diesel? Because I never even think about the guy existing.
He did
the same way with like 6.7 billion people on the planet.
He did some science fiction movie that I thought was really quite good.
Fast and Furious?
It's not a science fiction
Chronicles
movie.
of Riddick.
What is it?
There were more than one, but one of them was the Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. But I think he's a good actor. The only thing he says in this whole movie is, I am Groot, in different emotive ways. And
I don't know if I've ever seen anything that Vin Diesel is in.
All right. Well, there you go. You don't watch movies. I don't know why you keep chiming in. Do you every time you talk about WWE wrestling, do you want me to keep saying, I don't watch that stuff. I really don't like it. Hey, this is how conversations work. If
right.
you got nothing, give nothing.
You like him as much as the next person, and I'm the next person in the room to you, and I'm pointing out that I have no opinion on the guy.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you when I say next person, I can assure you. So
the Avengers is
are 3 Hobbit movies,
which are connected to Lord of the Rings, correct?
But they're not the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is its own thing.
That's correct. Now you know.
Okay, I thought all of the Hobbit stories were in the Lord of the Rings books.
Sorry, they're not. Meatpacking plants in getting raided by the INS.
Yes, and this is real life, not movies or books. On Thursday, down in Tennessee, federal officials arrested 97 immigrants who were working at a meat processing plant in rural Tennessee in what civil rights organizations are calling the largest single workplace raid in over a decade, and also a sign that the Trump administration is carrying out its plans to aggressively ramp up enforcement this year.
I wonder if they'll deport as many as the Obama administration did.
As I understand, the Obama administration redefined what a deportation was, and that's how he became the #1 deporter.
What do you mean he redefined what deportation was?
I didn't say he did. I said the administration did, and that was my understanding of it. I don't know what I mean.
So you don't know what the redefinition was?
Correct.
Okay. 10 people were arrested on federal immigration charges. One person was arrested on a state charge, and this from the Washington Post. They don't mention what that state charge was. And 86 were detained for being in the country illegally, according to Tammy Spicer, a spokeswoman for ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. All of those arrested are suspected
taking all the meat packing jobs from Americans.
Well, possibly that, but they're suspected of being in the country illegally. Immigration advocates say that most were from Mexico. The raid on the Southeastern Provision in Bean Station, Tennessee, follows arrest at 7-Eleven stores and other workplaces nationwide. Last year, the nation's top immigration officials said that he had ordered agents to increase the number of worksite inspections and operations by, quote, 4 or 5 times, end quote, to turn off the job magnets that attract immigrants who enter the country illegally, and to then punish the employers who hire them. The National Immigration Law Center and other immigrant advocates said the Tennessee raid was the largest since George W. Bush's administration and deployed many of the tactics of that era. With a surprise blitz of the factory and streets blocked by state and local authorities, ICE officials would not say where the raids ranked in terms of size. Stephanie Tetro, co-executive director of the Tennessee Immigrant and Rights Coalition, or Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition, said people are panicked. She says people are terrified to drive. They're terrified to even leave their homes.
Yeah, can you imagine what it's like? Mommy or daddy doesn't come home from work because, well, they wanted to work, I guess.
Yeah. Of the 86 who were arrested on civil immigration charges,
whenever I hear about illegal immigrants, I always hear about the way they're sucking off of the dole. They're taking all the free stuff. Is the best way to deal with illegal immigrants by going after where they work? I mean, if you're looking for immigrants who are lazy and not working, you probably should, going to their job is a bad place to find those.
Right, and, I'm glad you mentioned about, they just take stuff, and here we're talking about people that were working a job, which means they were having taxes taken out of their pay, which also means chances are they were not at the end of the year filing tax returns, which means that the state and the feds were making money off of their existence.
Well, it's going to, so there's Medicare that comes out of your taxes, everybody's taxes, Medicare and Social Security comes out. I don't care about income tax. It's probably not coming out somebody this low wage of worker, but everybody's paying Medicare and Social Security.
Prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to blackriflerealestate.com. That's blackriflerealestate.com.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Pre-order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. We're talking about a raid here by INS on a meatpacking plant.
ICE.
Yeah, so it's called ICE now, right?
INS is a different agency.
No, the INS has been replaced by the Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency. The INS used to be the Immigration Naturalization Service, and they are gone. So ICE got something new, zippier, kind of creepy name. So anyway, it's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
The number's 855-450-3733. Raising you wasn't all Skittles and unicorns, but you turned out pretty awesome. Thanks to Mom. Look, Mother's Day is coming. It's her big day. Mom's Day. It's Book's Day. Bouquets, that's short for bouquets, and their flowers are bouquing awesome. Moms don't want online sweatshop flowers that will wilt in 2 days. Your mom deserves the flowers from the Bouquets. Bouquets flowers are as unique and special as your mom is. They're freshly cut from Bouquets farms and delivered straight to your mom, so they last weeks, not days. Bouquets even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pictures of them and brag about you to her friends. And because Bouquets cut out the middleman, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. Actually, I went on recently and ordered some flowers from Bouquets, and yep, the pricing is, by the looks of it, better than the competition. And we have some flowers here at the studio. Darryl, did you get a chance to see them?
I did see them, and I also loved the water bottle vase that you wound up opting to go with.
It's not like Ian has the greatest selection of vases here at the house, but you can get vases delivered with your flowers.
But can you get a vase?
That too. Bouquets.com, Bouqs.com. And if you order today, you get an extra 15% off when you enter the coupon code FTL. That's Bouqs.com. And remember to enter FTL.
I think you left out an O.
Did I? Bouqs.com?
Yes.
Okay.
Bouqs.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, learn how to spell bouquet and then stop at Bouquets. Bouquets.com, coupon code FTL. There you go. Let's go to the phones. We've got Matthew calling in from Louisiana. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
And Darryl, Jonny. Today on Gun Talk Radio, I heard Tom tell us about...
Who is Tom?
Tom Gresham, of the host of Gun Talk Radio.
I've heard his name.
Yeah, he's kind of the guru of talking about guns. It's like what he does. He does a lot of talking about guns. He's all about guns, and...
Well, with a name like Gun Talk Radio, I would be surprised if he were talking about gardening.
Matthew, does he have an opinion on this John Kasich, the governor of Ohio? I've been looking into John Kasich recently and his gun views because they changed. He took a 180 right after the Parkland shooting. And so that's just on my mind. So I wanted to bring it up.
So did the butthole out in Florida, who's now running for Senate. I sincerely hope that somebody else manages to get the Republican slot. But who knows? But what he was talking about was in New York City. New York City. Get a rope. The state has decided that they're going to ask banks if they do business with gun manufacturers, retailers, or ammunition manufacturers or retailers. And if they do, they will take a dim view about the states continuing to do business with those things. And apparently, and I don't know how this works, but in New York, the government of New York can go look at the books of every bank and decide whether or not they're doing businesses with approved businesses.
Well, they are the Empire State. It doesn't surprise me. Basically, if the government could grow in a particular direction, it certainly did. So is this New York City or state? I've got a little confused.
I think it's the state. Okay, he didn't give me a source, and I wasn't able to call into the show because I was busy chopping down grass at the time.
Okay.
And so I'm like, whoa, is it time for people who build guns, sell guns, and buy guns to start looking in alternative banking solutions, like maybe Bitcoin? I don't know.
Yeah, so this is kind of the question with marijuana sales organizations in Colorado and all the other states that are doing this stuff, there's an opportunity exists for cryptocurrency to get involved. Maybe that'll be the case. It doesn't surprise me that some government is, turning on gun manufacturers. I don't know the veracity of this, but nonetheless, I wouldn't doubt it. It sounds like the direction that they would go. Sure, I think every business ought to look at it because it's a way to sidestep the system that we currently have.
Yeah, it certainly is a way to put a big old quash on the old Second Amendment, which
well, the Second Amendment doesn't guarantee banking, does it?
No, it certainly does not.
That's the problem.
There's no right to banking.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's one other thing too. Y'all have a frequent caller who's from this area named Vernon, and I would ask Vernon to please join me on WGSO in the mornings because I am the lone voice for something that resembles liberty on Politics with a Punch.
This is probably good activism for anybody who's interested in the ideas of liberty is, hey, if you can usually these local shows, and Free Talk Live too, the wait isn't terrible. How long do you think your wait was, Matthew, while you were holding for us?
I was no more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes at the most.
I don't think you're at 15. This is true on a lot of local radio shows. I remember calling into a national show, Lionel, that was on, and I rarely would wait 10 minutes to get on the air. They've, bam, you're on.
I called Michael Reagan once.
Yeah. How long was the wait?
I don't remember, but it wasn't long.
Yeah.
Is that Ronald Reagan's son?
Adopted son.
And I can't remember the other national show I was on, but usually I don't, you're not waiting 10, 15 minutes basically to get on these local and smaller national shows.
Right. If you call Rush, you're sitting on hold for 3.5 hours.
That's the suggestion, but Rush basically doesn't take calls either.
Right. That's why people sit on hold the entire time. He'll give a number, but if you call it, you sit on hold.
Yeah.
Rush will take more calls than Hannity does. Hannity, if you're not worshiping Donald Trump like, he's some kind of a, bronze deity, which, look at his skin color, I guess you could say maybe he is. He just doesn't want to hear from you. If you've got a legitimate criticism, I mean, you're not a leftist loon, but you've got a legitimate criticism, and it's like, no, we must all worship Donald Trump. I'm like, no, he's a human being. I worship God. I don't worship Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, that's really most of these people take their shows very seriously as far as their opinion. They don't want to hear anything that deviates from it. And if they do hear it, they need to have somebody whom they can take to the mat pretty easily because there's not a lot of time. So there's not a big time for debate or anything like that. So they'll just
Yeah, I've noticed that. Ciao.
Thanks for the call, Matthew. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And if you want to use Skype, the username is LRN. That says in Liberty Radio Network. LRN.FM. Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggosuds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggosud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggosuds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The number, if you want to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. At this moment in time, we've been talking about a raid that went on by ICE against a meatpacking plant. Somewhere, where was it?
Tennessee. It does not say the city at the beginning of the article. Just mentions rural Tennessee. It does mention the Southeast Provision in Bean Station. So Bean Station apparently is the municipality there in Tennessee, wherever that is.
There was a bean station anywhere in America.
Yeah, well, I never would have thought to look to see if there was a bean station anywhere.
Darryl, we were just talking about your run. Tell me what's going on as far as fundraising.
Yeah, so the New York City Marathon is coming up in, how far away is November?
Soon.
5 months-ish, I think.
Just say soon. It's always relative.
Yeah, and I will be running on Team Innocence Project, and I have unofficially reached the goal. Okay. I say unofficially because there have been some pledged matching funds that just have not come in yet. Okay. But once those come in, I will have officially reached the minimum goal of $3,500. I would love to get somewhere close to $5,000 for the Innocence Project. And the Innocence Project is the first of its kind. It was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. And Tony Wright, who is one of their clients, is the perfect example of the power of DNA in their relentless pursuit of justice. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission to even do the DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty.
Yeah, you'd think that that states would be all for DNA testing for people sitting on death row. I mean, why would you want to keep an inmate on death row, pay all this money, because it's a lot of money to keep somebody on death row.
Right.
But I think it's because they don't want to lose legitimacy. I think it's because they don't want to look like they're wrong. Who wants to execute an innocent person?
That's it exactly. And if some of these gentlemen are exonerated, as many have, then they're liable for all of the years of life that they've stolen from them. And that is pretty pricey.
And unfortunately, Tony's case is not unique. Overall, there have been 356 people exonerated because of DNA alone in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than, and it's mind-boggling the number of years here, 4,875 years in total. With your help, the Innocence Project can help even more people who have been wrongly convicted. You can support the Innocence Project and support me in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com. Again, all of the funds that get contributed through run.freetalklive.com go directly to the Innocence Project. It just helps me to, again, secure my spot in the race. And, the charity runners, yes, there's that minimum goal, but there's also the larger goal of you want to bring in as much money as possible so that next year, if you wind up being a charity runner, the charity is more willing to give you a spot on the team. Run.freetalklive.com.
So we were talking about this raid that went on ICE.
Yes.
How many people got arrested in this raid?
A total of 97. 10 people were arrested on federal immigration charges. 1 person arrested on a state charge. 86 were detained for being in the country illegally. However, 32, for some unknown reason, I say unknown because ICE did not wind up saying why they were released. The remaining 54 were still being detained at the time that this article was written by the Washington Post, but the agency did not provide names or say where they were being held. The immigration arrest came as authorities executed a federal criminal search warrant at the cattle slaughter facility outside of Knoxville. ICE said it was a joint operation involving Homeland Security, the IRS, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol.
Yeah, as I understand it, the Internal Revenue Service was the one that sort of broke this case, that the owner of the facility was way behind in federal taxes. They began to see sort of discrepancies. As a result, they brought other agencies in. They found, and by the way, meatpacking is one of those areas where you're liable to see illegal immigrants working. And, if I'm not trying to get people upset by using the term illegal immigrant or trying to placate anybody. It's against the law.
So is jaywalking, but we don't call people that do it illegal walkers.
We don't.
We don't call people that have ever violated the speed limit as illegal drivers.
Right. I think that basically everybody's illegal, like an illegal person, because we all break the laws all the time.
Right. And that's really my point of at what point, how many laws do I have to violate? And there's a book called 3 Felonies a Day that says that, basically
but by the way,
everybody
coming to this country illegally and staying is just a misdemeanor. It's not even a felony.
It's not even a misdemeanor.
No, it's a violation.
It's a federal violation.
Okay. But
however, the penalty is deportation. Right. So it's got, penalties that if it was a misdemeanor, you would be incarcerated in a federal facility. So, it's not even a misdemeanor offense. That's why I use the jaywalking or the speed limit analogy, because it's the same level offense.
Yeah.
So how many, violation level offenses do I need to commit in a given day to wind up being considered an illegal person? I think I jaywalked at least 20 times today on my 10-mile run. I know that I crossed streets nowhere near a crosswalk multiple times. I crossed streets at a crosswalk with a red light when the "Don't Walk" sign was lit up. I think once or twice there was a cop somewhere nearby, but they generally don't harass runners.
Right. And another thing is that I really kind of wonder why adults would be charged with jaywalking anyway. I mean, usually you can get across the street without disturbing the traffic. I don't want to disturb the traffic, but that's beside the point. We're not talking about jaywalking. We're talking about
a violation level offense.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that I think that America can benefit from hardworking people.
Yes.
And arresting people at work probably isn't the best way to help us out. Look, I understand not every one of these people that was working at this meatpacking plant is the next Albert Einstein. I gotcha. But that doesn't, like, my ancestors who came over here from God knows where weren't all a bunch of geniuses either. Probably the vast majority of them, if not all of them, worked at menial level jobs.
I'm glad we've got people working at meatpacking facilities, because it means when I go to the grocery store, I don't have to wind up, butchering my own cow because somebody already did that for me.
No, they don't do that at grocery stores. But yes, there's a grocery store because somebody's willing to do the work.
The meatpacking people are the one butchering the cow and putting it in the package that I pick up at the grocer.
Indeed.
As you said before, Mark, a lot of the anti-immigrant thinking is fueled by the idea that they're going to come across the border and they're going to get on welfare, and they're going to turn America into a welfare country. But I can't imagine a more socialistic-minded populace and an entitled with a sense of entitlement than Americans. I can't imagine that any influx of people from anywhere else could make America worse than it is now.
As far as entitlement.
Yeah. And the folks, I
don't know, if you come across the border with the expectation that it's basically that's it, I got across the border, there should be some fanfare and excitement, then
there may be some mentally ill,
but most of them know that they have to skulk in the shadows in order to get by.
Yeah,
and they do.
Yeah, they come over and they work. And in fact, what Trump's anti-immigrant faction is afraid of is that they're going to take their jobs because they're better workers than the Americans.
So let's talk about the actual reason that this place was raided. The article, again, from the Washington Post says, in a federal affidavit, IRS Special Agent Nicholas Worsham said the family-run plant is under criminal investigation for allegedly evading taxes, filing false tax returns, and hiring immigrants who were in the country illegally. He alleged the facility failed to report $8.4 million in wages and to pay at least $2.5 million in payroll taxes for dozens of undocumented workers. So it sounds to me like the problem is the business owner. From the IRS's perspective, the problem is the business owner, not the people that are getting a paycheck from the business owner.
Yeah, but that's what.
But at the end of the day, taxation is theft, and this guy was avoiding some theft.
Well, yeah, these people aren't avoiding prison, are they?
Unfortunately not. Paid for by theft.
Indeed. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. This has got to be one of our most unpopular opinions here on Free Talk Live.
Aging is one thing that affects everyone. George has talked about the power of stem cells for years. Now, there's a new serum that harnesses that stem cell power to bring back your youthful look. Beverly Hills doctor Nathan Newman.
Stem cells are basically our fountain of youth. This is what maintains our body's reparative, regenerative abilities. As we age, every cell breaks down and needs to be replaced, and what replaces it is the stem cell.
Dr. Newman and Janess have developed Lumin-S. Lumin-S takes the science of stem cells, using the same growth factor complex that literally heals our cells, slowing the appearance of the aging process. Apply Lumin-S twice daily, and on average, see results in a week. Learn more, watch our video, and order today at a special Coast website, healthylooking.com. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, that's healthylooking.com. Lumin-S, for a healthier, much younger, better-looking you. Buy now at healthylooking.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of April 28th and 29th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,324 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $41, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,065. Antiwar.com reports President Trump said Friday that he is encouraged by the summit between North and South Korea. This added to his administration expressing high hopes about Trump's own upcoming meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. The Friday meeting between Kim and South Korean President Moon Jae-in ended with the agreement to move towards denuclearization and a peace deal to end the Korean War. The Korean War started in 1950 and was never officially ended. While Trump has been cautious about the meeting with Kim, he has also praised the North Korean leader's recent diplomatic efforts. On Friday, Trump assured that he would not repeat the mistakes of past administrations in dealing with North Korea. Despite media reporting aimed at discouraging diplomacy with North Korea, President Trump has continued to advance the process towards talks. It is expected that the talks will take place in late May or early June. According to Trump, 5 locations are under consideration, as are 3 or 4 possible dates. That the two Koreas had their summit so successfully will only bolster the expectations for Trump to make a big deal in his own summit. This is likely to mean further pushback from media opponents of the talks who seek to portray them as doomed to failure. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. UPI reports a passenger on board the Southwest Airlines flight that had an engine failure that killed one person last week sued the Dallas-based airline Friday for neglect, according to court documents. Lilia Chavez accused Southwest Airlines and CFM International, the maker of the engines installed on the Boeing 737, of negligence and willful, wanton, and outrageous conduct. The suit by Chavez is the first to be filed over Flight 1380, which made an emergency landing on April 17th in Philadelphia en route from New York City to Dallas. Investigators said a fan blade in one of the engines broke away from metal fatigue and debris struck the side of the plane, breaking one of the windows. One passenger was partially sucked out of the broken window, but other passengers were able to pull her back inside the aircraft. The woman, Jennifer Riordan, died from her injuries. Chavez said in her lawsuit she was sitting 3 seats behind the broken window and witnessed the horror as the woman was pulled out of the plane. She said the blast of air from the broken window caused debris to strike her and obstructed her breathing. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports adult film star Stormy Daniels' lawsuit against U.S. President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, will be paused for 90 days. The federal judge in the case ordered on Friday, saying that Cohen's constitutional rights could be endangered if the lawsuit proceeds while he is under criminal investigation. District Judge James Otero wrote in the order, the court finds that there is a large potential factual overlap between the civil and criminal proceedings that would heavily implicate Mr. Cohen's Fifth Amendment rights, referring to the Constitution's protection against self-incrimination. Cohen has admitted to paying $130,000 to Stormy Daniels to secure her silence about having sex with Donald Trump, which he denies. Cohen said the payment was legal and Daniels has sued to end her non-disclosure agreement. Michael Avenatti, a lawyer for Stormy Daniels, promptly pledged to fight the stay, writing on Twitter he would file an immediate appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in California, which could ultimately lead to the Supreme Court weighing in. Otero wrote, whether or not an indictment is forthcoming, and the court thinks it is likely based on these facts alone, these unique circumstances counsel in favor of a stay. Daniels has argued that the lawsuit should proceed, with Cohen invoking the Fifth Amendment only for specific questions that might lead to self-incrimination. But Otero wrote that approach could lead Cohen to not answering any questions, rendering a deposition useless. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after members of the New York Police Department found a super sharp Buck brand pocket knife earlier this morning, Lieutenant Joseph Mattioli spoke to Onion reporters at the scene of the discovery to update the public on this potentially deadly blade.
At 8:40 a.m., police discovered what seems to be a pretty badass buck knife. Investigators believe it to be basically the deadliest knife ever.
Mattioli confirmed that the pretty cool wood-handled knife has a clean edge and added that the blade must be, quote, at least like 8 inches long.
At this time, we'd like everyone to be aware that there's probably a man out there with an eye patch and scars all over his face that has access to these knives, or maybe even a samurai sword. We urge people to be careful when approaching him because he may flip out and chop both your arms off before you even realize it.
Following the announcement, Mattioli asked people to come forward if they had any information about the owner of the knife or if they just wanted to hold it for a couple of seconds. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
That's right, it is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on this live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
If it's between 7 p. and 10 p. Eastern Time, wherever you are, we are live on the air. And we have been live on the air going back for probably a decade. Like every single day. I don't know. I'd have to check these numbers, but darn close to a decade.
I think you added the Sunday show in 2011.
Okay.
Because I was living in San Antonio listening when you and Stephanie started doing the Sunday show.
And I don't think since we started the that Sunday show that we have had a single day where somebody hasn't done a live Free Talk Live.
So that's going
close to
almost 7 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's 2018 right now.
Yep. There you go. So in your recent memory, we've been live every single day from 7 p. to 10 p. Eastern Time. And what we were talking about in the last hour was a Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency raid,
along with the IRS and several other entities, including some Tennessee something another.
Yeah, somebody's always drug along.
Tennessee Highway Patrol.
Yeah, on some hardworking folks at a meatpacking plant. And a couple of things I want to sort of get across is when talk radio hosts and demagogues of all sorts get on this issue of immigration, they usually pound a few different nails, right? So they'll pound their criminal's nail. And it's true that they're illegal. That is a federal...
They have violated a federal statute.
A federal statute at a violation level, not a misdemeanor.
Correct.
Not a felony. This is the equivalent of walking across the street.
It's like jaywalking or speeding.
Yeah, except that
or not wearing a seatbelt.
The penalty is getting kicked out of the country. So, they'll pound that point, but they'll also sort of act like these people are rapists and they're the worst. And Donald Trump said something like they're not sending their best, that kind of thing.
Right, but when you look at the statistics and compare, quote unquote, them to people that were born in the United States, the crime rates are actually worse for people born in the United States.
That's correct. If you compare Hispanics to Americans, and the difficulty is you're not going to find good numbers for illegal immigrants. They're just not out there.
Right. You can only compare the numbers of immigrants and then, extrapolate, well, X percent were deported, and so we think that this and that. And even, if you fudge the numbers as horribly as possible as you can to make it look like they're really bad, it's still a lower crime rate than people born in the United States.
Right.
And we've gone over those numbers on this show multiple times.
Right. And they'll also make them seem like they're lazy and not working, or stealing your job, doing both of those things at the same time.
Schrodinger's immigrant.
Right. And the arguing against stealing your job thing is very sort of difficult because a job doesn't exist. A job is an agreement between two people, and when one of the people stops agreeing, then you don't have a job anymore. It's like a marriage. If somebody came along and stole your spouse, they didn't steal your spouse. Your spouse left you some time ago. And they're just now acting on it. But whatever, that's sort of
right. We're not caveman days to where you would actually wind up clubbing a woman in the head and dragging her back to your cave and actually stealing someone's spouse.
Yeah, and on the other side, as far as the best we can tell, is that illegal immigrants do not take any the federal and state largesse, the free stuff, the welfare and those sorts of things at nearly the rate that Americans do. And I've got an article that addresses to some extent that issue here shortly. But it is Free Talk Live, and we've got Mortified Penguin calling in on Skype. Our username there, by the way, is lrn.fm, so you can call too. All you have to do is send a friend request. It's lrn.fm on Skype. Mortified Penguin, what's on your mind?
Hey, friends. I just want to first chime in the first thing you open the show with and say that I do not watch superhero movies. I've never understood that phenomenon. And so
it's relatively new, right? Like the past 20 years, there's a lot more superhero movies.
Really, really huge. I just can't do it. I don't know. Yep. But anyways,
do you see movies at all now? Because I
don't really see that many movies anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't go back and watch those. I don't know. I mean, everybody talks about them. Everybody talks about them, but I can't do it. Yeah, but anyways, I wanted to. I was actually thinking about immigration before you brought it up. I was I had gone on CNN.com, and they're really pushing this immigrant caravan that's coming up through Central America and Mexico.
Yeah, I've heard about it. That there's like some kind of troop of people coming on to invade the borders of the United States.
Oh, I've not heard this.
Yeah.
So what's the claim?
It's a huge pro-Trump thing.
Go ahead, Mortified Penguin.
Yeah, I was just asking, what's the claim about these vans?
So yeah, it's like a busloads of thousands of people that are going up through Mexico from Central and South America. And I guess they want to claim asylum. They just want to come to the border, show up, and they all want to plead their case. And it's a huge spectacle. The media's been following the entire way up.
Uh-huh.
A lot of different news outlets. And obviously, it's a big one side saying it's an invasion. They're coming over our border. They're trying to attack our immigration policies. And the other side's criticizing Trump and criticizing immigration policy. And I mean, I'm all for immigrants. I don't dislike people from a different country. One of my parents is an immigrant. I'm like second generation. I'm very, I'm a minority. And to be honest with you though, when I see this, when I see CNN, kind of celebrating these people and saying this is the face of America and these people deserve everything, this and that, but they're coming and they're going to be supported on government taxpayer funds.
I got to say that the refugee status kind of bothers me. It bugs me that there's refugee status often get places to live, a certain stipend upon which to live and these sorts of things. I don't support that. I support free people being able to cross the borders of free countries freely. And if the United States didn't have those previous rules regarding immigration, there wouldn't be this refugee status coming from Central American countries.
Well, if the U.S. military wasn't bombing Syria, there wouldn't be a large number of refugees fleeing Syria.
They'd still be people. Believe me, people want to come from lots and lots of different countries to the United States.
Right, but they wouldn't be doing so under the refugee program.
No, the refugee program is probably the worst way for somebody to get here. Mortified Penguin?
Well, a large number of the people that came from Syria actually made it out of Syria were people that were middle class enough to have a life savings to spend on getting to Turkey, and then they were and then maybe to Europe, and then they were done. They had nothing left.
Yeah.
But these people, I mean, these are obviously countries that have a contiguous land border, or through Mexico, like some kind of. And if 1,000 people come, 2,000, I mean, 1 million people could just come, and I mean that's fine. I'm all for it if they can, in a market system, but these are basically being paid for.
We got plenty of room for them. We could take the population of the world into the 48 states, and there'd be enough room for them.
And let's not forget, prior to socialism, the nations understood innately, as did populations, understood innately that there are really only two resources: labor, human beings. Labor and human beings are labor. So human beings and land. If it wasn't for, right now, let me, if you asked Americans, would you like to take all the land in Central America? You take responsibility for everything in Central America? They say, no, we don't want to do that. And you know why? Because those people are impoverished. We don't want to bring them up to American standards or whatever. But if Americans, if taxpayers, if individuals weren't responsible for people who are within a particular border, then by God, you would see the borders of America expanding, because people would be like, the different states of Mexico and different countries in Central America be all like, hey, we want to join too, because America's a better form of government than what they've got. That's what they want, but. It's the social programs that prevent them from having a better life. These programs are intended to raise people up, keep people in poverty. That's the whole purpose. It's the whole outcome. Thanks for the call, Modified Penguin. Appreciate it.
Right on.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Am I incorrect? Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. Tony Wright is a perfect example of the power of DNA. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission for DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty. Tony's case, sadly, is not unique. Empowered with the unequivocal proof of innocence provided by DNA technology, the Innocence Project has litigated hundreds of wrongful conviction cases, leading to the exoneration and freedom for more than 180 people through DNA testing. Overall, there have been 356 DNA exonerees in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than 4,875 years in total. You can help support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com.
Are you a sneezer?
If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, another live Sunday edition for you to call in and share whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
And we're talking about, well, the old standby here in America, immigration. And Free Talk Live generally has an opinion that is unlike you will hear any place else on American radio. Is we believe that free people should be able to cross the borders of free countries, but they are not entitled to your stuff.
Nobody is entitled to your stuff.
Yep.
Nobody.
Right. It doesn't matter where you were born. If you're born in San Diego or Tijuana, you're not entitled to somebody else's money.
It doesn't matter if you live in the governor's mansion, the White House, the county lockup. Nobody is entitled to my stuff.
If somebody puts you in the county lockup, I think they're responsible for taking care of you while you're there, whatever that however that is funded.
I think our opinions, in the sense that they're all alike, would often be characterized as an open borders policy.
Yeah. A libertarian policy, frankly. But there are libertarians who are closed border libertarians. What do we call them? Bordertarians?
Bordertarians.
Yeah, indeed. That's
I think that individuals are rightly concerned about the borders of their own property, but since you don't really have that in the U.S., they're fixated on a border of a property that they don't own because they don't own anything. So you're able to whip up emotion about the border between the U.S. and Mexico because you've long lost having any hope in your own mind of controlling your own property. So you get caught up in these national disputes when it's none of your business.
It does seem like with the advent of talk radio that we spend less time on issues that are local and therefore more relevant to our lives, and more time on issues that are national, that a national show can talk about. Because I can't talk about the budget problem that's going on in Poughkeepsie, but I can talk about the border.
Right, but let's look at, and you guys know that I'm a huge nerd when it comes to elections. Local elections get turnout of 4, 5, 10% if you're lucky.
Yeah, 10%'s a big local.
National elections, if you're lucky, you get 50, maybe 60% in some places. So even the people that care and I'm using air quotes there, they don't care about local elections and local issues. How many people show up to city council meetings?
Why would you
can
want to?
probably
They're so
count
boring.
them on, both hands and maybe a foot if you live in a large place.
Yep, indeed. Let's go to the phones. So we got Dana calling in from Grand Rapids. Dana, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I'm going to go easy on you guys. Because,
Thank you.
It wasn't. Hi guys. It wasn't you, Mark, but it was either Darryl or Jonny Ray. One of you advanced and often quoted saying that both they commit less crime, illegal aliens, as well as use less of our benefits. And I'm going to say this as calmly as possible. They are trespassing, not on my lawn or in my home. They are trespassing in someone else's country. How dare they collect any benefit or commit any crime?
Indeed, they shouldn't collect any benefits or commit any crimes. But I imagine what they say to themselves is that, well, I mean, the benefits are there for the taking, and look at all these fat and lazy Americans that are taking the benefits. Why shouldn't I take them too?
I don't think that the benefits should exist. I'm not justifying anything, Dana. I am just pointing out that the people, there are people. Hold on, Dana. You're claiming that I'm justifying something that I'm not justifying.
Justifying?
Yes, she said you can sit there and justify. I'm not justifying anything.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Then what did you say when you used the term justify?
Please go ahead, Dana.
I started to say they can justify it any way they want, but immorality is still immorality. And when you've already, I wasn't saying you didn't let me finish, and you talked over me.
Well,
I was saying that I'm not blaming you guys because this has been advanced many times.
Let me ask you this, Dana.
Just because other people commit murder doesn't mean I can.
No,
And
you
for an
certainly
illegal
can't.
to come here,
It seems like the government's the only one that's allowed to kill people.
No, for a government to come here, for people to come here illegally for the supposed better way of life and then continue to commit more crimes. And I don't have my information because I'm in the car. I pulled over. I've got it on my computer. These illegals are taking way much more of the benefits than what is being reported in the media. In addition, I, of all people, should be pro-immigration, and I am as long as it's legal because I'm only second generation.
The laws are so draconian, Dana.
But 4 grandparents.
Look, Dana, we all have immigrants as grandparents. The reason we're here is because the government let them in. They messed up their last name and then let them come in the country and work their butts off, and then we built a great nation. That's all we're suggesting here. I'd like them to keep whatever last name they want, but just that people
they got a Starbucks name.
Do it legally.
Do you know what that even means?
It's a
Dana?
lot easier to cross the Rio Grande than it is to climb that mountain paperwork.
Can I tell you, all 4 of my grandparents had it hit 3 metrics. You had to have a full-time job. You couldn't even get off the boat without a full-time job because there was no welfare, no child welfare, like the CHIP programs or SNAP or any of those.
Well, the
there
INS
no
just
Section
arrested
8.
people who were working at full-time jobs.
What I am saying is, it's got to be done legally, and the legal immigration has to be looked at.
Do you
and
know
as
how
far as
expensive
what
it
happens,
is to legally
wait a
immigrate
minute,
now?
I'm not done. They need to prosecute those hiring those people.
But
I believe in that.
Oh, I'm sure you believe a lot of things, but I'm asking, do you know how expensive it is, just the fees to the federal government to immigrate here legally?
You know what? Everybody's got problems. If you want to get here,
I didn't ask if people had problems or not, Dana. I'm asking if you know how many thousands of dollars it costs to move here legally and file the paperwork.
What if I want to leave, Dana? Should the prices be really, really high for me to go elsewhere? This is kind of the other side of this. America is crashing into the sea from a financial standpoint. $21 trillion in debt. People still want to come here, but in a few decades, this will be the armpit of the world. You want to make make it pleasant to come here, because other nations will then make it pleasant for your children to leave, which is what they're going to want to do. I mean, this is the Rome of the New World, and I mean, like, you can't expect to get if you don't give.
Rome.
What's that?
Look what happened to Rome. Look
Yeah.
what happened to every great civilization that practiced tolerance. I'm going to tell you something about
Rome
tolerance.
wasn't tolerant.
The last value of a degenerating society is tolerance. Look at Rome's history. They accepted everyone as their citizens, and look what
No,
happened
they
to
didn't.
them.
If they joined the military for 20
Roman
years.
citizenship was incredibly difficult to get, and American citizenship is also incredibly difficult to get. And by the way, it's about $15,000, $20,000 and takes about a decade.
Thanks for the call, Dana.
You're
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. goberkey.com.
Free Talk Live.
When you speak of the federal government, I can tell you a few things about it because I survived 34 years of it before I retired 2 years ago.
Ew.
And
Sorry to hear about
maintained
that.
my sanity.
Congratulations.
Who did you work for?
I worked for the Department of Defense. It's a criminal enterprise from top to bottom. There was unethical behavior going on there. There were people doing criminal things. I mean, outright larceny, graft. I could just go on.
Yeah, and that's just your bureaucracy. It's the same way everywhere else in every other government department.
And I tell you, this is a microcosm. If it's that way where I was, you know the entire federal government's that way from the very top to the very bottom.
When we talk to former police officers, they've told us that usually
I did that too for 7 years out there.
They've told us that in their experience, usually the worst rise up through the ranks. Would you say that's accurate from your experience?
Absolutely.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can call in. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free here on Free Talk Live. And if you've got a closet full of plain, boring T-shirts and you wish that you had some shirts that had clever and witty sayings on them, but you only have $6 and you refuse to buy anything from people who aren't libertarians, well, I've got news for you. $6shirts.com is a gigantic selection of witty and clever T-shirts that'll make you the most exciting person in your social group for as low as $6. As a matter of fact, it's as low as $4, isn't it, Darryl?
That's if you sign up for the email list and you get notified of the Tea Time special.
And the guy who runs the place, or at least one of the guys who runs the place, the one I talk to on the regular, is a listener of Free Talk Live. It's $6shirts.com. And am I wearing one right now? No.
I'm wearing one right now.
I probably wear $6 shirts more often than most other shirts because I always wear a T-shirt, even if I have some kind of overshirt on it, because, well, I don't know. I've just always believed in T-shirts, I guess. It protects the other shirt. So
I believe T-shirts exist as well.
Yeah, I'm a fan of T-shirts generally. $6shirts.com, and yes, you can use coupon code FTL to save 10%, and they do accept Bitcoin.
Which means that they also have some Bitcoin-related T-shirts.
They do. So
$6shirts.com.
Yep. Maybe we should encourage folks who are pro-strong border, maybe we should encourage them to think of the world as their country and give them the perspective of somebody who, let's say they wanted to buy property in China. Don't you want to live in a world where the Chinese government wouldn't be able to stand between you and the guy in China who wants to sell his property?
Indeed. So Dana brought up the criminality issue. And one of the problems with arguing facts with people is that there's these alternative facts. Now, I'm not saying that Dana's in possession of the alternative facts. Maybe we're in possession of the alternative facts. She said that the mainstream media's numbers cannot be trusted. And if they can't be trusted, then whose numbers do I trust on the criminality? Somebody who sent me an email forward? Not my favorite source, for numbers. The difficulty with arguing facts is that somebody's always got some other fact.
Right, and in this case, it's not necessarily fact, it's statistics, and then the facts are from the interpretation of the statistic.
So I would like to briefly suggest that the moral argument to me is always the supreme argument, and that free people should be able to cross the borders of free countries freely.
Right.
But what about the fact that there are laws, Darryl? There's laws in this country about crossing the border.
Yeah, there are also laws in this country in some places about collecting seaweed at night. That doesn't make it right.
There are dumb laws, but the laws are voted on by people that we generally consider to be liars and thieves, right? Politicians?
Yes.
But those politicians are voted on by the majority of people. So ultimately,
it's not even the majority. It's a plurality of a minority.
Subset of a subset.
Right, it's a subset of the set is people, the subset is voters, the subset of the subset is the winning voters, the yes or the no, the one side or the other voters.
Right, the plurality.
So, what I would say is in what world is it that the majority of people or the minority of people or whatever, the winners, in what world are the winners right? Because that's not the world that I live in. The world I live in is that you're right if you're right.
Right, and I love the people, and I'm using the word very tongue-in-cheek there, the people that will say, well, my grandparents came here legally, so you should come here legally. Yeah, well, there were completely different rules at that time.
Right. Like the rules in the early 20th century and late 19th century were, you got to consider that there was a time when a third of the American population were immigrants. And a third, like ladies and gentlemen, a third of the American population were immigrants. And believe me, there was all the complaints about the Germans and the wars and the whole deal.
The Irish, the Italians.
Yep, all those folks. Bad. Let's take Carl calling in from New Jersey. Carl, you're on Free Talk Live.
Gentlemen, thanks for taking my call. You're forgetting the high cost of educating the anchor babies.
I consider education, public schools, to be welfare. I mean, essentially, that's what it is, right?
Yeah, we've considered that. We don't provide it to them.
I don't
Problem
believe
solved.
that you morally have an obligation to provide an education to anyone except perhaps your children. I think there's a moral obligation that you have to educate your children. If you brought people into the world, you should educate them.
Right, but here we go. Governor Murphy, my governor of New Jersey, says teacher strikes won't happen in New Jersey because he's going to fund them at all costs. But guess what? He forgot about Pleasantville. Pleasantville was what used to be called an Abbott district. He only gave them, I think, a 0.5% more. They raised their property taxes last year a lot higher, and this year they're doing the same thing, and they have been without a contract for 2 years. You know what I say? If they go out on strike like other states have done, fire them all, do away with their union like Rhode Island did, and hire less costly ones. And how many hours do the teachers teach in a public school a day? Is it 5, 5.5? It isn't like when I used to work for a union, they wanted 8 hours work for 8 hours pay, but the teachers don't do that, and they complain.
Well, there's got to be things to do that when they aren't in class, though. I mean, there's papers to be graded and that sort of thing.
The teachers are just like everybody else. Some of them are productive and efficient, and some of them are lazy.
And I can tell you this, when they're government employees, the teachers will say that just the same thing as that, is that there's a percentage of teachers that need to be fired, but you can't get rid of them. And that's what happens when you make up public sector unions. Carl, thanks for the call.
Right, and you can't get... Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Yep. The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Another Dana from Maine. Dana, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, sir. As I started listening to you guys not long ago and loved the show.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about... we're complaining all the time. I'm an old libertarian. Talking about... Government. Government's nothing more than the people who make it up. You agree with me with that, right? And nobody ever seems to make the observation about the fraudulent nature of politics and the political elections that lead to the placement of these I don't know what they are, but anyway,
criminals.
I just like to point out that honest politics amounts to nothing more or less than a competition of ideas about government. All you guys are all headstrong like I am. We all think our ideas are the best. Darryl thinks his ideas are the best. Darryl, you got some good ideas too, buddy.
Thank you.
Everybody thinks that their ideas are the best. And politics basically amounts to a competition of these ideas. But in political elections that we see here in the land of the free, we have no honest competition. And I point to sports competitions where participation is fair, it's open to all equally. You have announcers and cheerleaders are secondary to the event. In political competitions, you have the same two stinking teams every year that hog the World Series, and you have the announcers and the cheerleaders are primary to the event, i.e., we can't even get the candidates for office up here to show up in public to take a question from the citizenry at all.
Right. If they do take questions, if they do take questions, they've stacked the deck with a bunch of people throwing out fake questions.
Right, and you've got the two teams setting the rules for who gets to compete against them. Do you really think
those are the only ones that
if the New England Patriots and the San Francisco 49ers got to decide who plays in the Super Bowl, would they select the Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers? No, they would select themselves.
And they do.
And they've turned what could be a beautiful thing for society, i.e., a public exposition of the best ideas and the best thinking. and they've replaced it with a disgusting puppet show. In other words, we ought to have vigorous head-to-head debates to decide political offices. Either that, or I say, just choose names out of a hat. We'd be better off. Just literally choose people through sortition.
That would be a better system. Indeed, Dana. Thanks for the call.
Couldn't be any worse than it is.
855-450-3733. Free Talk Live. I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Pre-order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The number is 855-450-3733. And you can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. We're talking about immigration, which usually tends to fill up the phone lines here on Free Talk Live, or at least does for a little while, until people get tired of talking to us because, looks like we're not going to change our opinion on it. And I guess that's the way people are. Generally, it's difficult to change people's minds on a particular topic. First off, I would recommend, being civil. That's the best bet, I think. Also, name calling is generally a bad way to convince people. So I try not to do those things. Sometimes I get frustrated, but, frustrating people frustrate people. That's the way that is. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
I think the best way to approach the truth is to constantly be trying to destroy your own arguments.
That's good for an individual, right? So, as an individual, you will find truth as you continually question your own arguments. I don't think most people spend much time doing that, but that's what I like to do. Yes, please give me more information about how I can destroy my own arguments. So, when it comes to immigration, I feel like I've taken it from every angle I can take it from, because there's always if somebody came in your house and started eating out of your refrigerator, what would you do? Well, it's not my house. It's not my refrigerator. And
that's a communistic way of thinking.
Yeah.
Right. And really the argument that some people are trying to make, it's not, people can't just come onto your property. It's, I don't think that people should be allowed to go to Mark's house if Mark wants them there.
Right. If I want to invite my good friends from Mexico, exactly what moral standing do you have to prevent them from coming? And remember, the government has no more rights than we as individuals have.
Right, but you don't own all the land between your house and the airport, so therefore trespass.
Well,
I do
have to pay for the roads between my house and the airport.
And the argument would stand if they'd been helicoptered in.
Right. It wouldn't make a difference. I can assure you that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency would be right there if I took if I helicoptered people in from a foreign country,
sent them into orbit,
and brought them down to my property. It has nothing to do with other people's property.
They violated airspace.
Yeah, nothing to do with that. Let me tell you about Bitcoin, because hey, ladies and gentlemen, you can't stop this new internet money. There's nothing anyone can do to prevent a Bitcoin transaction that isn't part of the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer, meaning from me to you, open source, and peer means that we're equal too. Two equal people making a transaction. It's open sourced. It's not some government-run organization. It's not some private corporation.
Then there is no trusted third party necessary.
Yep, it's an international currency. You don't have to change Bitcoins from one type of Bitcoin to another Bitcoin just because you changed countries. And it is a great technology. You can find out more about it by going to Bitcoin.com. Even if you know lots of things about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin.com has the latest news. If you want to acquire Bitcoin, go to Bitcoin.com. They've got wallets, which is an app that you'll need to store your Bitcoin. They've got resources for buying it. They've got even resources for mining it if you want to make your own Bitcoins by putting computing power towards it. It's Bitcoin.com. And it's a great resource, Bitcoin.com. Let's go to Dan calling in from Arkansas. Dan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
All's well, sir.
Yeah, on the immigration and crime, I just have to say that my niece at the age of 5 years old, she was kidnapped from a park.
Oh, my.
By an illegal immigrant,
okay.
And she was raped. And then her brother, years later, my nephew, he's now paralyzed because he was shot and a bullet severed his spine. He was shot by MS-13 gang.
Where? Did these?
In Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, what a terrible place that these folks must live. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
so what's your point?
That's why I don't live in Dallas anymore. That's why I moved out. That's why I moved here to Arkansas.
Yeah,
because all of Dallas pretty much is turned into Mexico.
I wouldn't know. I haven't been to Dallas recently, but I guess my statement to that would be is that life wouldn't be any better for your niece or your nephew if they had been kidnapped, raped, or shot by American citizens, right?
Well, I'd say that's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, these are terrible things to have happened. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, I guess the correlation as to their legal status when we can – and again, this is an issue of facts. All I can do is look at the things that I look at. It says that illegal immigrants are less likely to commit crimes, probably because they don't want to be caught.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I don't know how they're less likely to not cause crimes, because if they're here illegally, whether they want to or not, they're going to commit crimes.
Well, they're certainly committing a violation. I'll concede that. Right. Being here is a breaking of the law, certainly.
Yeah. And then there's other things. I have my best friend, his wife is Filipino.
Uh-huh.
And you're talking about how much it costs to become legal.
Yep.
I mean, she's been here for 6 years, and they pay outrageous money.
Yeah.
To try to get her legal.
Yeah.
And she's not fond of the illegal immigrants, and she's not fond of the idea of them getting amnesty.
Oh, I'm sure.
When she's have to pay so much, to do it legally.
Yeah, I can imagine that the fact that she had to go through the arduous and terrible legal process probably doesn't make her real happy that some people attempt to avoid it. But I mean, the question is, if something's bad is done to you, should that bad thing be done to everyone? And I tend to think not.
Right, but there's a similar situation whenever there's any kind of legislation to roll back some kind of regulation. The people that have, complied with whatever the existing regulation, they always go testify against rolling back regulation. Because, I had to jump through all of these hoops and hurdles. Everybody else should too.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too when you look at Mexico. Mexico has their walls on their borders.
They do. Yep.
They actually don't have walls on their borders.
Not in the south side?
The picture that floats around all the time is not actually of the Mexican border.
Okay, I wouldn't know. I've heard that Mexico has walls on its southern border. Not that I think that justifies it in any way, shape, or form. I mean... Right,
I've actually researched that.
I don't love the Mexican government.
Because I've heard that a bunch, and I've looked, and all of the info that I can find says that they do not, in fact, have a wall on their southern border.
I can tell you this about the Mexican government, Dan, is that... if you go there and you overstay your visa, which is an American is a 6-month visa, you're supposed to go there, have fun for 6 months, and then you got to leave. And you could come back the next day, but you're supposed to leave every 6 months. If you don't do that, then you have to pay a fine of, I think it's $50 or $30, and then everything's sort of forgiven. So, I mean, they, at the very least, make it significantly easier for Americans to go over there. And when I went to Mexico and Acapulco, had a wonderful time, and prices were great, and frankly, it was pretty awesome. I don't love the Mexican government. I suspect it's even more corrupt than our own.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I do admit that they're hard workers. I know they work hard. There's no doubt about that.
Best I can tell.
But
I hear that's a racist statement, but it's the best I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, they do work hard. I admit that, but at the same time, I think there's Americans that work hard too.
Yeah.
That would actually do the jobs that the Hispanics do.
You know what? There's several
cases,
stories about food rotting in the fields because they couldn't get Americans to do it. I don't think that in many cases Americans can handle the workload.
In Georgia, they wound up getting inmates, taking them to the farms, and the second day, inmates opted to be put in solitary confinement instead of going back to the farm.
Yeah, we read that story on the air.
Mm.
It's tough.
Well, I know that for years and years I did warehouse work in Dallas, and 20 years ago I was making $40,000 a year, which was decent, working in the warehouses. But those jobs don't exist anymore because the Hispanics have taken all the jobs, and and they're getting paid $8 an hour.
Working for half the pay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed, that's the way it is. That's what happened when competition is introduced. Thanks for the call, Dan. I appreciate it. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of April 28th and 29th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,324 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $41, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,065. Antiwar.com reports President Trump said Friday that he is encouraged by the summit between North and South Korea. This added to his administration expressing high hopes about Trump's own upcoming meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. The Friday meeting between Kim and South Korean President Moon Jae-in ended with the agreement to move towards denuclearization and a peace deal to end the Korean War. The Korean War started in 1950 and was never officially ended. While Trump has been cautious about the meeting with Kim, he has also praised the North Korean leader's recent diplomatic efforts. On Friday, Trump assured that he would not repeat the mistakes of past administrations in dealing with North Korea. Despite media reporting aimed at discouraging diplomacy with North Korea, President Trump has continued to advance the process towards talks. It is expected that the talks will take place in late May or early June. According to Trump, 5 locations are under consideration, as are 3 or 4 possible dates. That the two Koreas had their summit so successfully will only bolster the expectations for Trump to make a big deal in his own summit. This is likely to mean further pushback from media opponents of the talks who seek to portray them as doomed to failure. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. UPI reports a passenger on board the Southwest Airlines flight that had an engine failure that killed one person last week sued the Dallas-based airline Friday for neglect, according to court documents. Lilia Chavez accused Southwest Airlines and CFM International, the maker of the engines installed on the Boeing 737, of negligence and willful, wanton, and outrageous conduct. The suit by Chavez is the first to be filed over Flight 1380, which made an emergency landing on April 17th in Philadelphia en route from New York City to Dallas. Investigators said a fan blade in one of the engines broke away from metal fatigue and debris struck the side of the plane, breaking one of the windows. One passenger was partially sucked out of the broken window, but other passengers were able to pull her back inside the aircraft. The woman, Jennifer Riordan, died from her injuries. Chavez said in her lawsuit she was sitting 3 seats behind the broken window and witnessed the horror as the woman was pulled out of the plane. She said the blast of air from the broken window caused debris to strike her and obstructed her breathing. For over 40 years, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports adult film star Stormy Daniels' lawsuit against U.S. President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, will be paused for 90 days. The federal judge in the case ordered on Friday, saying that Cohen's constitutional rights could be endangered if the lawsuit proceeds while he is under criminal investigation. District Judge James Otero wrote in the order, the court finds that there is a large potential factual overlap between the civil and criminal proceedings that would heavily implicate Mr. Cohen's Fifth Amendment rights, referring to the Constitution's protection against self-incrimination. Cohen has admitted to paying $130,000 to Stormy Daniels to secure her silence about having sex with Donald Trump, which he denies. Cohen said the payment was legal and Daniels has sued to end her non-disclosure agreement. Michael Avenatti, a lawyer for Stormy Daniels, promptly pledged to fight the stay, writing on Twitter he would file an immediate appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in California, which could ultimately lead to the Supreme Court weighing in. Otero wrote, whether or not an indictment is forthcoming, and the court thinks it is likely based on these facts alone, these unique circumstances counsel in favor of a stay. Daniels has argued that the lawsuit should proceed, with Cohen invoking the Fifth Amendment only for specific questions that might lead to self-incrimination. But Otero wrote that approach could lead Cohen to not answering any questions, rendering a deposition useless. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The victims of a devastating tornado expressed gratitude that The Onion's 3-part series on the disaster was reported with fairness, accuracy, and an unusual degree of sensitivity. Survivors said they were at least thankful for one thing, that The Onion put much more care and insight into their reporting of the tragedy than any competing newspaper, by far. In economic news, a Pulitzer Prize would very much help certain newspapers increase their circulation, resulting in greater ad sales and more revenue to pay their tireless, hardworking reporters, all of whom have families at home to care for. In other headlines, a group known as Americans for Fairness in Awarding Journalism Prizes is asking all Americans to help The Onion receive a Pulitzer Prize. An anonymous man says he will murder 50 innocent people if The Onion is not awarded a Pulitzer. And look at it, it's beautiful. Look, just give us a Pulitzer already, okay? This is humiliating. For more prize-worthy stories and videos, go to theonion.com/review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live on this show. We're live 7 nights a week from 7 p to 10 p Eastern Time. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And we're talking about immigration, which is, once we bring it up, always brings in the calls. There's no doubt about it. We spoke about an ICE raid on a meat packing plant. And I wanted to bring up a story. It's not new, but it is from the foundation. This is from Vice. I thought it was FEE, Foundation for Economic Education article. It says unauthorized immigrants paid $100 billion into Social Security over the last decade. And, I know, look, I paid Social Security when I started working when I was 14 years old. Started getting paid in cash. I'd worked before that, but I worked for comic books at the comic book store, and I was happy to get them, mind you. But I was paying Social Security back then. Everybody pays Social Security. 15% of your pay. It's 7.5, but then your employer matches it at 7.5.
7.5 out of your check, 7.5 out of the employer's.
But in reality, the employer is paying that extra 7.5, whether or not they're paying it to you. So you basically can call that your pay.
Right. If Social Security taxes were not mandated, then your pay would, in theory, be 15% higher.
Right. It's an overhead for employing you. And that's what the employer pays to employ you. So one would presume that they would then pay that money to you. That's not exactly the way economics works.
Right. That's why I said in theory.
Yeah, in theory. But this article, it's not new, like I said. But I don't imagine things have changed much. Everybody still pays Social Security. They still pay for Medicare right in their checks.
Yep.
And people who are illegal immigrants aren't going to collect Social Security.
Correct.
They're not going to get it. So they're just paying in to a system that is propping up a system that they're never going to collect from.
Right. And generally, they're also whatever FICA gets withheld, whatever
Isn't
other
FICA
withholding.
Social Security?
I thought FICA and Social Security were two. It's been several years since
I think FICA's Medicare.
You can look it up while I take
the point nonetheless is all of these things that are being withheld from their paycheck, they're not filing tax returns at the end of the year to get any of that back that they would otherwise be entitled to receive.
Right. Illegal immigrants are not giving the federal government their address. Go to Jet, calling in from the Northwest. Jet, you're on Free Talk Live.
Alrighty, thanks for letting me cut in. I was able to listen to a little bit of this, but I was waiting for Mr. Mark to give his speech about free people should cross free borders.
I did it twice.
However you put it together.
Yeah, free people should cross the borders of free countries freely. Or you don't have free countries.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
You have free people. Yep.
That's right. Well, let me toss in a little Bible study real quick. Leviticus 19:34, the foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
Jet, when you read that verse to people who are good Christians, what do they say?
Yeah. I don't recall.
Okay.
But I'm sure it's probably more like,
yeah. So I guess I'm going to ask the question.
Say, that's the old covenant, that kind of thing.
If you're a good Christian and you believe in, the Bible, and you believe in the idea that the United States needs to protect its borders from foreigners or whatever, what do you think about this Leviticus verse, which I've heard multiple times, which says that you need to treat the foreigner who is in your land like you? What do you think? The number's 855-450-3733.
Okay. Am I still on?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I travel the Northwest, and I cross borders of several countries, we call them states, from time to time with little or no influence. But I always like to bring it down to the lowest, to the foundation of it all. Where did this authority come from to establish these things we call borders? Because aren't they just invisible lines on some man-made map by people a long time ago who just kind of scratch something out? Sure, we have mountain ranges and rivers and that kind of thing to define these things, but really, where does this authority come from to say that when I'm standing here on this one side, I have to abide by these rules? When I'm standing here on this other side, I have to abide by these rules. Because I'm in between, for example, in between Washington and Idaho. If I'm in Washington, and I can, let's say I'm dealing with a certain plant grown in nature.
You can smoke pot all you want in Washington.
If I cross that border into Idaho, I go to jail, and I'm going
for a long time. I was actually reading the laws in Idaho because we had this discussion about cannabis laws on Friday, I believe, and I went to the normal website and pulled up, and Idaho is absolutely ridiculous with how horrible their cannabis laws are.
Yeah, but again, my question is, who gets to? I mean, why do these people get to establish these rules? I mean, where does this authority come from? That's always the bottom line. What gives one man the right to make a rule over another?
I guess the answer that people would give, obviously it's not the one I'm going to give, is that if we didn't give these this group of criminals the right to make these decisions, that we would have absolute chaos and maybe like criminals ruling us.
Well, the theory is, a group of people got together and they wrote this Constitution thing that says what powers they wind up getting to have. Well, could you, Mark, and Jonny get together and write this Constitution thing saying that you can't take our stuff? And if so...
You got to get 35 friends, though.
Well, if so, then what gives that legitimacy? Like, how many people do you need before something is seen as legitimate as forming some kind of governing structure?
The best argument I heard against that, when I made that argument at one point, somebody said that's a very linear way to think. And I'm like, linear thinking is a way to solve problems, right?
All right, so linear thinking. Can I take your stuff, Mark?
No.
Can me and Jonny...
Yes, you could, but you'd have to use force.
Ethically and morally?
No.
Could me and Jonny vote to take your stuff?
Ethically and morally?
Ethically and morally.
No.
All right, but
but
if me, Jonny, and everybody in the neighborhood, then we could because reasons?
Yep.
Well, I wanted to say also that they have the authority because they feel inside that they have the authority.
Well,
because they think they have the authority, and most people are resigned to the fact that they're living in an authoritarian society.
Well, most people are the progeny of serfs, right? Like, we are the descendants of serfs, and serfs had to bow and scrape in front of the king. And otherwise the king's men would come and do terrible things to them. They haven't dug their way out of that yet. They haven't stood up and said, I'm a free person and I can cross the borders of free countries freely, or I'm not a free person. I can smoke this plant if I choose to, and as long as I don't hurt other people, I don't have a responsibility to make them whole. Go ahead, Jet.
I still have a basic question about this border thing. They were established here within these things we call the United States. Long ago, these people who established them are so far dead. Why does anyone pay attention to these things anyway? It just boggles my mind. I mean, this is just silliness. They have different uniforms, different rules, different logos, different things by simply crossing a riverbed, which is probably about 20 feet wide. And I just don't get that part.
Yeah, it's the same reason some European countries still have monarchs because, 500 years ago, a strange woman in a pond threw a sword to this guy named Arthur, and his grandson had a son, and then there was another son that had a daughter that married somebody, and this and that.
The borders of countries are simply where armies stopped fighting. Thanks for the call, Jet.
Yeah, well, when we're talking about Mexico, the idea was a third of the U.S. Well, let's say a quarter of the U.S. was Mexico to begin with before that. That's all right.
Yeah, indeed, it was the province of Spain. Thanks so much.
Until the war.
855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today, the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
It's always a good question. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And tonight, as one might expect, we've talked about immigration. Free Talk Live takes a stance on immigration that is unlike what you're going to hear on radio shows across America. And thus, we have had lots of calls as a result. It's Mark with you.
Darryl, I'd slit your throat for a Klondike bar. Johnny
Jeez,
Ray.
That's not nice, and I'm Darryl.
Klondike bars used to be a lot bigger than they are now.
Everything used to be a lot bigger than they are now.
And then smaller? Is that what your claim is?
No, the incredibly shrinking product. Because prices go up, and so instead of just outright raising the price, they'll modify, and then that 8-ounce thing of yogurt becomes 6 ounces.
How come sodas stay at 12 ounces? Huh? The number's
sodas stay no.
Sodas are 12 ounces.
Right. They also have 20 ounces and 1 liters, and
but the 12-ounce can that you drank from when you were a child, the aluminum can, has stayed the same throughout your life?
Probably just because it's too expensive to resize the cans, whereas it's a lot easier to resize a box.
Has the price stayed the same over the past few years?
No, it has not.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things where they actually will just go ahead and adjust the price. But like yogurt, they'll keep the same price, shrink it, but then they'll raise the price, make it bigger, and then say 20% free.
Yeah. That's how they do it.
No, it's not 20% more free.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Let's go to David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, yeah, originally I wanted to bring up, and I'll do it another time, that Alfie Evans case in the UK.
Yeah, that's a sad story of a little boy who, another little boy who was basically sentenced to die.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. And like I said, I want to save that for another time. But the bottom line on that one is that I want to share next time is that you can, a judge can do the exact same thing to a similar case here in the United States. The law is already in place for them to do that to us. But the reason I changed is because I heard you say something, Mark, that I wanted to comment on while it was timely. You were talking about town halls and how they're basically a setup. Everything is pre-scripted and all that. And I wanted to back you up by saying that in 2009, right after Obama won the election, I don't know if it was his first town hall or one of his first, but he had a town hall here in Albuquerque. And I got a phone call like a week before that town hall asking me if I wanted to be on the list to attend. And I said, sure. And so I showed up. And it occurred to me after they called me that the reason they called me is because I had been, I worked for their campaign, not because I was politically aligned with them, but because it was a job. I needed the money, and it was the best option. Yeah. And so that's clue number one. They made phone calls to invite people they thought were probably safe, and they didn't know that I was a mercenary rather than being one of them. And so I go to the town hall, and so he takes questions, right? And so when he says, let's take some questions, and then they did it. What he'd do is he'd take a question, and then he'd talk for a couple more minutes, and then he'd take another question, then he'd talk for a couple more minutes, and take another. And he did that like 8 different times through the town hall. And of course, every time I raised my hand, and there were really fewer people raising their hands than you would think. There was probably in the gym. It was in a high school gym. There was probably, I don't know, there were a couple thousand people in there. And each time that he would call for questions, maybe a dozen or at most 24 hands would go up to ask a question. And mine was one every single time. And after the second or third time, what I did instead of just raising my hand is I stood up and raised my hand. So that I didn't think that would necessarily carry any weight with him. In fact, psychologically, it'd probably push him away from me. But I wanted to make it clear to everybody in the room that I had an important question to ask, and that I was probably going to get skipped. And what
you should have done what Arnold from the Sweat Hogs did. You just go, ooh, 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 ooh.
Or just shout out the question, like what happens during like news conferences where there's the reporter, the person up there, and then every reporter shouting a question, and then they just point to somebody.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I would have done the Sweat Hog thing if I'd have thought of it. I should have talked to you before. God. And I did actually shout out a question. It was after the town hall, but when Obama was walking by me, I did shout a question, comment at him, and I did get his attention because I saw his right ear perk up and kind of turn my direction a little bit. So I know he heard what I said. But the point is that it was very clear. I had been on, like I told you before, I've been on many acting sets, and so I'm keen to pick apart people's acting, and he's not a good actor. And it was very clear that he was acting when he was pretending like he was randomly selecting whatever hand. And then when the people asked their question, it was very clear that they were prepared because once again, they're bad actors. It was very clear they were prepared to be the one that was going to be chosen. And at one point in a protest of what Obama was doing, when I figured out that this was about 3 or 4 questions into it, when I figured out that this was a scripted game, what I did is when I said I stood up and raised my hand, I never sat back down again. Everybody else in the whole arena is sitting down, and I'm continuing to stand up. And I kept my hand up for several minutes until finally I got tired of holding up. So I put my hand down, but I continued to stand up. And finally, one of the security dudes, civilian security dude, not a Secret Service dude, walks over to me and says, could I ask you to sit down? And what I said to him, I said, is that an order? And the dude said, can I ask you to sit down? And I said, is that an order? And he would not, strategically, he would not answer my question. And so I negotiated with him a little bit, and finally I went ahead and sat down. But and then later, when Obama ended his thing and he was exiting the room, when I yelled at him, I went from where I was about mid-gym, and I quickly walked down the bleachers to the very end, so I could be as close to him as I could possibly be when I yelled at him. And so I'm standing face to face with a line of secret security dudes when I did that. And I asked one of the secret security guys, I said to him, hey, are you allowed to take messages? I had a piece of paper out in front of me that I had written a message on. I asked him if he was allowed to take messages to the administration, and he said, well, thanks for asking, but no, we can't.
And, I imagine that's the last thing they want is to actually have real people talking to their politicians. Yeah, I don't think that the average person would be at all surprised to hear that nearly all of these questions are sort of scripted. I think here in New Hampshire, when you're at these early events where people come in, that you're much more likely to get a question in.
Yes.
I actually got a question in on Mitt Romney in 2008. So I can say that happened, but I couldn't get one in on Dennis Kucinich. So, there you go. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, they're set up. Thanks.
Yep, appreciate it. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. Does it surprise you to know that these are setups? It's Free Talk Live.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's FFF at FFF.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Call in and talk about whatever's on your mind here on this live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
Jonny Ray.
And Darryl.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Want to tell you about ZenCoin because
I think you mean Zencash.
Excuse me, Zencash. I was just looking at Bitcoin there. Yeah, because Bitcoin.
You're the one that wrote it.
Indeed. Well, you know, expect the worst from me. Bitcoin.com was, in fact, great technology when it came out in 2009. But blockchain tech, in fact, is being used in industries around the world. But when it comes to currency transactions, you don't always want your transactions on public display for everyone to see for time immemorial. That's what makes Zencash so great. It's a privacy option for transactions and messaging using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash has more than 8,000 secure nodes, making it one of the most secure networks of any cryptocurrency. It was made by voluntarists with the idea of voluntary interaction being embedded right in their white paper. Zencash is better tech than their competition. Learn more at zencash.com. It's zencash.com. And for those of you who bought when I told you to a few weeks ago and Zencash has doubled, you're welcome. Zencash.com. I also believe it'll continue to go up against Bitcoin. I couldn't say straight up, mind you, that isn't how these things work, but it is good tech, and I suspect that means that we'll see wider adoption. Just my opinion. Going on, Gene, the Christian anarchist, calling in from Tennessee. Gene, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, guys. First of all, I'd like you guys to figure out how to use the Discord, because I wanted to call in on the Discord, and I was told that you guys still haven't figured out this highly technical device called Discord.
When you say you guys, you mean me. So Ian has sat me down in this chair. Darryl showed me how to do the Discord one time, maybe twice, and I haven't remembered.
If you try, I have great confidence that you can learn it.
Yeah, trying is really the issue. Go ahead.
That and keeping it on the computer where you would actually see it instead of on the other screen.
That's one of the things that Ian just loves to do. Ian loves to have things going on all around him. I got a Telos here with blinking lights, and I've got the
two monitors
here. Don't forget the Skype. Don't forget the Discord. That's just his sort of way of doing things. I'm confused with the Comrex and the Skype. And then we're adding, it's a lot for me. Please, go ahead, Gene.
Okay, I called about government because that somebody was talking about government earlier, and I wanted to point out this is kind of the key to government. And people don't get it because they keep getting confused as to what government is. And this is one of those things where they hide it in plain sight. I mean, they're not exactly trying to make it a great secret. They even call it a legal fiction as well as a corporation. They're all legal fictions. Well, what does the term fiction mean? Fiction means it doesn't exist. It does not exist except on a piece of paper. So they take a piece of paper and they write some words on it and they say, this defines government. Well, that paper and those words didn't create anything. Yep. They merely put an idea into people's heads that such a thing exists.
Don't forget, when the lawyers talk about the legal fiction, they call their talking opinions. So now you have opinions on a legal fiction, which it makes about as much sense as a bunch of fat guys sitting at Bennigan's talking about the last Star Wars movie.
And this is the reason that governments can disappear overnight, like the USSR did. Governments disappear the moment the people stop believing in the fiction, because they never existed to begin with. And this is why I tell people, you know, when they talk to me about being an anarchist, they say, well, you can't be an anarchist. How can you be an anarchist? We're already living in anarchy. We just don't know it. Most of the people don't understand that they're living in anarchy. But I'll tell you something.
Well, what do you mean we're living in anarchy? The word means no rulers, and there are people that claim to be ruling others.
They claim to be rulers, but they're not rulers. They don't have any authority to be a ruler. So therefore, what they're telling you is a lie. They're lying to you through this piece of paper that we've already determined is a fiction. They're using it to lie to you, and then they're lying to the goon squad to tell the goon squad to go and enforce their whim upon the people. And the goon squad is stupid enough to believe it because of this idea that they have in their mind that this legal fiction exists.
Well, they believe it because they get a paycheck. And I can guarantee you, if they did not get a paycheck, they wouldn't buy into this thing of, I have authority.
They're heroes. They're protecting you. What do you mean, paycheck, Darryl? Yeah. Heroes must do things for free, right?
Are you telling me that the police that wind up arresting people that have not violated anyone's rights are not getting a paycheck?
But you're wrong about the paycheck. You're wrong about the paycheck convincing them that it's real, because the mafia gets a paycheck too, and they only follow the Don's advice or the ruling because they think that they're going to get their legs broken if they don't. So the fact that they're getting a paycheck does not convince them that it's real. What convinces them that it's real
up at
is
the
their
top
education.
of the paycheck, it says city of fill in the blank, or United States government, or state of Alaska, or whatever. The mafia guys, they know that they're doing things that are shifty.
But at you know that it's a fiction. It's a legal fiction. They don't know that it's a fiction, because they've been taught all their life that it exists. Now, when it disappears the day the people stop believing in it. That's when it disappears. And I'll tell you somebody who does know that it's a legal fiction, and they know 100%, and that's the people at the top. The criminals at the very top, they know that it's a legal fiction, because they have total disregard for every rule, because they know there's no authority behind the rules. They totally throw the rules out the window. They do anything they want because they are smart enough to know that there is no authority behind government. And that's why they do it, and that's why they get away with it.
When the president
and that's why I tell
then it's not
that's
illegal.
why I tell people we live in anarchy now. We do live in anarchy because there are no rulers. There are only people with guns forcing other people to do their will.
I'm not sure they're making rules. I'm not sure that's the most convincing argument. I've heard it before, and my rebuttal to it would be is that I have a reasonable expectation as to what's going to happen when I walk into town hall and go to pay my extortion fees. Whereas I would be petrified to walk into the local, mob house and hand over some money. I would be afraid that they would want more money. Here's my money. Well, it's more money because you have more money, and we want more money. People like the idea that they're going to get a bill, they're going to pay that amount, and they're not going to be asked for more, and those kind of things.
Well, your state and U.S. governments do the same thing. They always want more.
later.
You've never dealt with the mafia then, because the mafia has rules. They have their code of honor. They have all this stuff.
Well, you're talking about specifically the Cosa Nostra or something like that, but there's all kinds of organized crime.
If you had some history of a relationship with them and you knew that they were expecting you to arrive with the money, you wouldn't be terrified going in there. That would just be the way that you lived your life.
Right. I mean, it's just like the Crips and the Bloods. They have their own rules, too. And if you follow the rules, you're not going to get your head blown off. If you don't follow the rules, they're going to blow your head off. I mean, the rules for the Crips and the Blood have no less authority than the rules for the United States federal government. They're all just a big gang, and they have no authority because you can't point to the authority. You can't show me where they got that authority.
I wouldn't claim that they have authority. I'm just claiming that there's stability, that people have an expectation. The expectation is largely filled. They're familiar with the system. Those kinds of things. That would be my claim.
They're a well-organized gang, is what you're saying.
Yep, they are. With a strange way of picking dons.
Because but anyway, that was the point I wanted to make today, and thank you very much for letting me make it.
Thanks for the call, Gene. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on this live edition of Free Talk Live, and you're welcome to call in with whatever is on your mind. It doesn't have to be immigration. It could be whatever you want, just like Gene the Christian Anarchist did. 855-450-FREE.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, and rats. If you've made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix. Because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has 90 years of experience eliminating home invaders. And they make it easy for homeowners to be protected by offering a free pest estimate by calling 1-800-676-9879. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, rats, and other pests. This is your last chance. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will never stop working to keep you out with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Pests.
Wherever you are, I will find you.
Pests, you've been warned. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate. 1-800-676-9879. 1-800-676-9879. 30-day money-back guarantee at participating locations. Limitations apply. See plan for details.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. And if you like what we do here on Free Talk Live, which is, as I pointed out several times this evening, is unique. There's no show in America like Free Talk Live. Yep, they're on the radio like they are. Some of them are panel discussions like we are. Some of them you can call into. But none of them take the pro-liberty stance every issue, every time, like we do here on Free Talk Live. I would say that it's much more difficult to get on most shows than it is on Free Talk Live, but I could be wrong on that one.
I don't think you take the pro-liberty stance every issue every time.
We don't?
No, not you, especially not you. I'm thinking about you particularly.
We on Free Talk Live, we take the pro-liberty stance. The pro-liberty stance gets discussed, does it not?
Yeah, we minus Mark take the pro-liberty stance every issue, every time.
Well, you can certainly find. We could discuss that issue, whatever that issue is, the next time you're on the air there, if that ever happens again, Johnny Ray. The number is actually, I'm not going to give out the number because we only got two more got calls on the line. So let's go to the phones, to the fun. Oh, I wanted to tell you about the AMP program. Yeah, real quick, go to amp.freetalklive.com. Sign up there now. We've got some perks. Those perks are, badges on the Discord,
the
Facebook
AMP-only podcast that doesn't include some ads.
That's really nice.
AMP-only call-in line.
Which I won't answer, yeah.
Probably some other things that I'm not thinking of.
Let's go to Larry calling in from Indiana. It's amp.freetalklive.com. Larry, you're on Free Talk Live.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
Certainly.
Whether we agree with it or not, we can debate how well it functions. But the individual who called in about stepping across the state line here, there, that system, it is federalism, and each state was guaranteed to have a Republican form of government. But the question I have is:
is every state by the Constitution required to have a federal form of government?
Not Republican.
Uh-huh.
Which that just means not, Republican Party, but this whole thing of
representative
democracy thing.
Couldn't they do a direct democracy? Couldn't?
Well,
I guess they couldn't do a monarchy.
There's a whole discussion that takes place whether or not the Supreme Court overrules the states and how all that infringement goes on. But this is just to basically answer the person's question. That's the reason, whether it's considered right or wrong. But two other very quick things. One is there's a group of people that say this is truth, and there's a group of people that say this is truth. And if truth is relative, then why should we even believe that statement in and of itself? But the question I have for you gentlemen, maybe it's going to be going through in more depth on another program, but if New Hampshire were to break away, secede, and become its own country,
fat chance.
How would it run? What would whatever form of government take, and how would any rules, such as if you have to sign any kind of agreement saying I'll abide by these certain rules to live here, then those are rules. And then if that person does not abide by those rules, who then has the authority then to either expel that person ignore that person, punish that person, do whatever. Does that then not become a form of government in and of itself?
I think people govern their own property pretty effectively.
Right, but hold on. There's a lot of stuff in that question. So you asked what form of government would New Hampshire have if it broke away from the United States? And
I don't know.
That would be determined by the people that gathered to actually wind up, declaring secession. You also sort of implied that you think that there would be some kind of anarchic government, and maybe not. And then you ask questions basically of how would a stateless society work, while also implying that that's what the state of New Hampshire would have. And I don't know if that is what New Hampshire would have. So that there's a lot of, sort of what if scenarios that I don't know how to answer because it's not happening right now.
Again, to bring it right down to the bottom line on here, saying, and I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just trying to get a definitive definition. Is in that there's a lot of things wrong with the U.S. federal government. I will agree.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. But what then would the government of the country of New Hampshire look like? If
Are you talking about what my preference is?
Well, if individuals can say what's wrong with another country, what it should not be, then they should also be prepared to say,
Are we the individuals?
This government,
right. So the question is
going to look like
hold
this.
on. The question is, are you asking if Darryl, Jonny, and Mark are forming the government for New Hampshire, or if some other group of the 1.3 million people living in New Hampshire are forming something? What are they going to decide? Because I can't tell you what they're going to decide. And if you're asking what me, Mark, and Jonny are going to do, well, we're going to have to talk about it, and it's going to take more than 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, every time I've ever dealt with a government, Larry, they've always told me what I'm going to do, not the other way around. Like, even when I go vote, the vast majority of the time, my candidate doesn't get in. So I don't know what the government's going to do.
Even governing the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, we discussed bylaws for 2 hours yesterday and then did not make a decision on anything.
I would like to say that I think that government officers very often perform useful functions, and that the useful functions that they perform, people would be willing to pay for it.
If they weren't willing to pay for it, it's not a useful function, right?
Yeah. So if you're in the government and you're doing something people appreciate, you can go into business and keep doing the same thing.
There you go. There's something, Larry.
I want to take it to the very simplest case.
That's what
I need. If someone is laid down in the middle of the street and won't move, who's in charge of moving that person out of the street so the cars don't run over?
Or the person who owns the street.
The person who owns the street,
property owner.
Yeah, I mean, it can get into a multitude of different things. Like if I want to pave the
property
in front of my business.
Hold on. So let me ask let me turn the question around and ask you: under the current system that we have, who is responsible for removing that person from the street?
Ultimately,
the police.
Right? You're the one that asked the question. I'm just asking in the current system, because a lot of people, they want answers to every little minutia thing of what could possibly happen in a society where government is smaller than it is now, but they don't know how those things are done now, or who is responsible for those things now, or those things aren't being done properly now.
Right. Well, in my thing, it would go along with whatever gentleman just said there. That there's someone's going to provide useful function. In this case, it might be a public safety officer. It might be a policeman.
But you're asking in a free and independent New Hampshire who would remove people from the street. I'm asking you, who does that now?
Okay, I feel like I'm being taken down the most confusing primrose path that I've ever been down. Like, I've been down a lot of primrose paths, and I like primroses. I don't mind these theoretical questions. If you want my opinion about how to make a government function more efficiently, I think we've tried democracies, we've tried republics, we've tried monarchies, we've tried fascist states, we've tried socialist states. So let's try something new. Because we know how
I agree. I'm not trying to argue with you.
No, I'm
not trying to argue with you. I'm just saying
if you want my opinion on how government should function, I'll give you my opinion on how government should function. A government should be like an insurance company where you choose or don't choose them, and they choose to protect you or they don't protect you, right? Like in a particular area. So I have insurance for my house burning down. I don't have insurance for life insurance. I choose not to buy that particular
Hold
insurance.
on, I thought you had the brain freezing thing.
That's not life
like
insurance. That's my brain being frozen by Alcor. So nonetheless, I'd chosen not to buy that particular protection. A government is simply another organization. In this case, they're a monopoly organization that says if you don't pay for our services, we will throw you in a cage with a big sodomite. Now, that's the problem with the agency. Not that the service that they provide, not the getting bums off of streets service, it's the way we're going to be funded service, quote unquote.
Right,
service.
well, I'm not trying to argue that. I'm just trying to see what New Hampshire would look like.
I don't know.
We don't know. We've already answered that question
If
half a dozen times.
About everything. If a person is not prepared to define what they say is correct, define that, then what gives that person the right to
Hold on, just defined it, Larry.
Hold on, Larry.
I don't know what's going to happen with New Hampshire. I'm not New Hampshire.
Larry, you're asking three different questions. You're saying, what will New Hampshire look like? And then you're saying, well, why don't you tell me what you think it should look like? That's different from what it will look like. And then you're asking who's going to remove people from the streets without saying who removes them from the streets now.
You guys are getting very angry about this.
It's bad
he's not trying to argue with you.
But he's asking stupid questions. Larry, thank you for the call. We're out of time for tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow because we're here every night of the week, and Mark is maniacally laughing, but we are always online at freetalklive.com.
We are indeed, freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.